Put your phone down, stop the doom scrolling because we have better things to do. Here are 25 witchy, whimsical and creative things that you can do the next time you feel bored. Now, the first thing that you can always do when you are bored, and you should always do, is to go for a walk in nature and really let your senses lead you the way. So what can you hear? Can you hear the wind rustling through the leaves? Can you hear the birds singing? And what can you see, like what colors, what shapes? And what can you smell? And I found that when I let my intuition guide me, I have the most magical encounters. Like I stumble across the most magical places, I see the most magical mushrooms or plants, or I encounter animals that I have never seen before. So this is my number one way to cure boredom, to be honest, because whenever I go out into nature, it's like I can see and feel and hear all of the abundance, and it's like I can never feel bored when I'm outside. So number one, go for a walk in nature. Now the next thing that you could do is to bring a camera outside and capture the everyday magic. And I personally love to bring my camera everywhere, and I just love to consciously look for the magic that surrounds me. For example, this could be a heart-shaped leaf, or a really funny looking cloud, or a really beautiful flower. Like I just love taking pictures and just looking for that magic that is always there. And this could even be you taking your camera into the city and finding a really beautiful angle when the sun sets down. It really doesn't matter, but try to be curious, try to see everything through the eyes of a child. And this could be your smartphone, but I found myself checking emails and messages when I bring my smartphone. So I usually turn this into don't disturb mode and have my camera that I use for my photography. But I just love photography and like really going outside and looking for that magic. Now, I used to do this all the time as a child without even realizing it, and it is looking at the clouds and making up stories. And in fact, if you show me a cloud, I 100% can tell you what it looks like. Like I'm the type of person, I always see something in a cloud. You can challenge me on that. Tag me on Instagram, send me a picture of a cloud, and I am like 100% sure that I can tell you what it looks like. I always see like an animal in a cloud or a flower or something like that. But this is just such a fun way to train your inner creativity, to unblock your inner creativity. And so the next time when you are outside and there is like the fluffy clouds on the sky, really sit back and observe the sky and see what the clouds look like. Like what do they remind you of? And then you want to come up with a little story. You can do this in your head or you can write it down. But come up with a little story. This could be a whimsical tale. This could be just a story, like a regular normal story without magic. But feel free to do anything you like. And again, I love doing this. It really unblocks me. It helps me to open my mind. And I don't feel bored after this anymore because I have so many ideas for creative projects after doing that. Now, if you know me, you knew that this had to come, and it is to make a flower crown. I love making flower crowns, especially in spring with daisies or dandelions. But of course you could do this in summer with all the beautiful summer flowers. You can do this with fake flowers and with dried flowers, like whatever it is that you want. You could even use grain in autumn to make a really beautiful grain crown. It just popped up to me that this is a really cool thing and I now want to do it. But make a flower crown, have fun, and just express your inner queen that you know you are. I get myself a bouquet of flowers for every single Sabbath. I love to choose flowers that represent the current energies, the current colors of a season, and I just love surrounding myself with fresh flowers for the Sabbath. And you can do this whenever you feel like you may need the fresh energy of flowers. Like flower magic is such a potent magic in my opinion, because it really represents this abundance, and like there is the secret language of flowers, and you probably know that roses are for love or something like that. So I love doing flower magic and getting myself a bouquet of flowers. And you could go to a flower shop, or in Germany we have the places where you can go to and cut your own flowers and then pay for them. But treat yourself to a bouquet of flowers. So because I'm such a big green witch, you know that I love to forage for herbs or fruits, especially in August. Like there is so many fruits and berries that are ripe now, and you can forage them. Of course, make sure you know what you are harvesting, and like you always do your own research. But I just love to go outside and forage for herbs that I can then put into my apothecary, or fruits. I recently found so many apple trees and like plum trees, and I just have so much fun collecting fruits in nature, because you can so tell the difference between bought fruits and natural fruits. And I just have so much fun spending my time outside, filling my little bags, and then like proudly walking home. To me, this really is my #1 way of connecting to the seasons and connecting to the rhythm of the seasons. And so I have been doing this for 2 years now, and I start to understand, wow, now it's the time for the elderberries, or the apples are ripe now, you can harvest them, and it's just so much fun. I have such a deep gratitude for Mother Nature when I again go outside and find new fruit trees, or I find a new herb that I studied in my books. And again, like this is one of my most favorite ways to cure boredom. Now, there really is no need to feel bored if you can study. And this is like me being a Virgo, so where are my fellow Virgos? But I love studying if I feel bored. In fact, I feel like studying every single day, even if it is just a little bit, really is so beautiful. And like picking 3 new plants or mushrooms or animals that are local to you, or they don't even have to be local, is such a rewarding thing to do if you feel bored. And it's not overwhelming at all, because like what is 3? It's not that much, right? Like think about learning 3 new words in a new language. It's like basically nothing. And so the next time when you feel bored, sit down, pick 3 new animals or herbs or whatever you like. This could even be a folk tale or something like that, and start to study it. Like what are characteristics of it? What are the magical properties? What are the symbolisms of these things that you want to study? So I love doing this because I know that I'm doing something for my survival skills. I recently did a little solo picnic, and I fell in love with this activity because, to be honest, you don't even have the time to feel bored. You have to prepare for your picnic, you have to make the tea or coffee, you have to prepare the fruits and vegetables, the cheese, the bread, right? Whatever you eat and like. You could make rosemary potatoes. Like I just really fell in love with this Hobbit picnic, and you could choose whatever theme you like, to be honest, and adapt your food accordingly. But I just had so much fun doing this little Hobbit picnic and finding a place that reminded me of the Shire. Like I did not have time to be bored. I was just having fun. And yeah, so I highly recommend the next time when you feel bored, prepare for a little picnic. You can do this with your family, you can go alone, whatever you want. So definitely make a little picnic if you feel bored. You know that every single spring I redo the fairy garden. I create a place where the fairies are invited and also the gnomes are invited. I really consciously try to create a surrounding where they feel comfortable and where I can learn more about fruits and vegetables and growing my own food. So for example, right now I'm growing zucchinis and they are growing, like I think I have 6 of them on my little zucchini plant. And this is just so rewarding, like watching your own food grow, harvesting it, like tending to it. You don't even have to grow your own food. This could be plants or herbs, whatever you like. You can then collect them and dry them for your apothecary, for your spells. And again, this does not have to be a big space. I'm working on my tiny little patio. This could be your garden, your patio, your balcony, whatever it is. Like just dedicate a small little place to the fairies or create a little witch's garden. It is so much fun. Another thing that you can do the next time when you feel bored is to craft your own candle for a new moon or full moon. And I personally really love doing this because you can really infuse your own magic, your own intention. You can work with color correspondences however you like. You could use herbs or crystals that are safe to burn. You can carve in sigils or symbols. Like you can do whatever you want to make the candle as magical as possible. Really, the sky is the limit here. And I did this for the Leo new moon that happened, I think it was in June or July. I had so much fun. I used this pinkish red color that I really like, and it just turned out so cute. So you can really choose what ingredients you are putting into your candle. So we love that. And yeah, it is just so much fun, but please make sure that you never leave your candle unattended if you are burning it. One of my most favorite things to do is to harvest my herbs from my little fairy garden, and this could be rosemary, sage, lavender or basil or whatever is growing this year, and then tie them all together in an herb bundle. And I usually leave them to dry for 1 or 2 days because then the herbs are not too dry and not too moist so they could mold. And this is just such a fun way if you feel bored to make little herb bundles. They are so magical. They can be used in your magical practice. You can use them to cleanse your home, whatever it is that you like. But this definitely will leave you without any boredom. Now, idea number 12 is to design and draw your own fantasy emblem. And I recently did a thrift flip where I created such a fantasy emblem, and it is one of my most favorite things that I ever did. It was such a whimsical process and I really had to trust the process. But I designed a pattern for my fantasy emblem. It was Cottagecore inspired and I had so much fun. I chose the colors and I decorated it with moss and fake mushrooms, and I really just had such a whimsical time. It took me about 2 days, so really there is no time for being bored or something like that. You can either, if you feel comfortable, make your own pattern, or you could also ask an AI to create a pattern for you. Really, there is no shame in that, because I learned drawing and like being creative by seeing things and recreating them. So if you feel not comfortable to draw your own pattern, like ask AI and let it give you a pattern. You can then print it and hang it somewhere, or again you can paint your own pattern and put it on a wooden piece or just a canvas or something like that. You can do whatever you like here. Another idea that you can do the next time when you feel bored is to make your own crystal candle holder. This is such a simple yet beautiful idea, and you don't need a lot. Like, you only need a hot glue gun, you need a candle holder and crystals that fit into the candle holder, and then you only need to glue all of it together. You can decorate it with some fake moss, with fake flowers, whatever you like, maybe some candle wax strips, and then you will feel like you are sitting in an enchanted castle. I always have mine on my seasonal altar because I think it looks so magical and whimsical, and I will really cherish it forever. Idea number 14 is to make your own apothecary herb cards. And again, you can either go outside and find flowers and then press them and stick them on any cardboard or paper you have. You could paint them, or you could ask like AI to generate an image for you, or you could simply print out the picture of a flower from online or cut it out from a magazine. Like, you can be as creative as you want here, and however comfortable you feel like making these things on your own. But don't feel like just because you cannot paint or something like that, you cannot do these things. There is so many options, and just have fun. Like, it's all about curing the boredom here. It's not about being perfect, it's about having fun. And I did mine like with some golden accents. I really loved them. I pressed my flowers that I found in nature, and then I wrote the magical and the medicinal properties on the back of the card. They are so fun, and I just really love them. So I hope you can try them out too. Now, another idea is to connect with your favorite flowers and herbs, and I do this by painting the flower. This is my way of connecting to the spirit of a plant, because I really soak in the color of this herb or plant or flower. I really observe the chalices and the petals, and it really forces me to pay close attention to the flower. And by doing this, I really start to build the connection. I start to look behind the symbolism or why I felt drawn to a certain flower. And so this year I started drawing all of the flowers and leaves and trees and herbs that I encounter on my nature adventures in a small little book that I always keep with me when I'm outside. And again, if you don't feel comfortable painting or drawing yourself, you could even just mix the color of the flower or the leaf that you observe, and then you could see how it is changing throughout the seasons. So for example, how is a tree changing color throughout spring, summer, autumn and winter, right? So how does the color look like? And really try to soak in all of what you can see and feel. You could even just connect to the flower or the leaf and see what messages come up for you, right? You really want to honor your intuitive way of living, because we all have different intuitive gifts. So for example, I can really see and hear. I'm kind of a mixture of a lot of things, but you really want to honor your intuitive gifts. So there is no pressure here, just have fun. And yeah, I hope you can try it out too. And another creative magic / crafting idea is to do some embroidering. I personally really love embroidering. I love the sound of the needle going through the fabric. It is so relaxing and comforting to me, and it looks much more difficult than it actually is. There is so many beginner-friendly stitches that allow you to create already beautiful pictures and creations. So maybe the next time you feel bored, you can embroider your jeans or a t-shirt or maybe a scarf, whatever you like, because this definitely will make your clothes much more whimsical, and it allows you to express your inner magic in such a beautiful, creative way. Now, as witches, we are naturally really good at brewing potions, aka making our tea with intention. Am I right? I just really love doing this because I have so much fun coming up with like my mixtures for my tea. I love combining different herbs and spices, for example, like cinnamon or maybe some flowers that are suitable to be put into a tea, and then just create a potion like my tea with intention. And you want to stir clockwise to attract and counterclockwise to banish. And while doing this, you want to focus on your wish or intention. And so maybe the next time you feel bored, you could either study about a mixture for your tea, or if you already have everything, you can come up and like create your own tea mixture. It is so much fun. You really have to trust me on this. It's fun. And And another thing that you can do the next time when you feel bored is to dry your herbs and put them in glass jars. And I personally really love the aesthetic of it. I recently decorated my vintage secretary with all of my herbs that I harvested myself. I love labeling them. I love writing the medicinal and magical properties into my apothecary diary. You can also write it on the jar itself if this makes it easier for you to work with them. And if you don't grow your own herbs or you don't have the opportunity to collect or forage, then you can simply go to the store and buy the herbs or spices. See what you need the most in your practice. Like, don't feel the need to buy all of it. Just see what you may need in your spells and rituals, and then put them in glass jars, because if you are like me, you don't want these precious spices and herbs to stay in this ugly plastic cardboard packaging. You want them to look fancy and magical. And so the next time when you feel bored, why not put all of your dried herbs and spices into cute glass jars? This is another thing that I started recently, and it is an apothecary diary. Now again, remember that if you are doing spells or rituals or any magic, you want to track the results. You want to see what you did so you can do it again, because that's the magic, right? If something works, you want to redo it. And so you want to write down all of the magical properties into your apothecary diary. You want to write down when you used an herb or like a spice and what you did exactly, like what were the steps. I just have so much fun doing it. I love decorating my pages and like foraging herbs, then drying them, putting them into my apothecary diary. Like, you really want to have a good diary where you write down everything about your practice with your herbs. The next time you feel bored, why not start a nature cabinet? And this is something that I do automatically. I don't even have to think about it anymore. But usually when I feel bored, I will go outside and see if I can find anything for my little nature cabinet. And so maybe you can find cute stones or feathers or eggshells from bird that hatched or pine cones or acorns or something like that. And I then put them in little glass jars, and I just love the aesthetic of it. Again, I think they are the cutest thing ever, and I cannot stop myself from looking at them 24/7. But yeah, why not start collecting nature, and of course in a conscious way. So I always make sure that I don't collect anything that I'm not allowed to, and if I take something, I will leave something in return. And if I don't have anything with me that day that is safe to be left in nature, I may sing or say thank you out loud. And yeah, it's really so much fun. I can highly recommend. And you can then put all of the little glass jars in a magical place. So for example, I have one of these antique apothecary drawers, and you could also use a vintage secretary or something like that, a little shelf on your wall. There are so many options, and I really love it. Seasonal living to me really is all about finding back to the rhythm of nature, to the rhythm of Mother Earth, and to really understand the cycles of the nature that we live in. And you will start to slow down after attuning yourself back to these cycles, to the rhythm that Mother Earth is dancing to. And I found that a beautiful way to attune yourself back to the cycles of nature is to create a seasonal altar. And this is also a beautiful way to cure that boredom, because you really have to think about what the season is all about. You have to research the color correspondences, the symbolism, and it is so much fun decorating a sacred space with like colors and flowers and things that are now omnipresent in nature. So I feel like this is a beautiful witchy way of honoring the cycles of the year. To don't feel any of that boredom, because you will start to understand that yes, in life there is phases when things slow down, when it feels stagnant, but then there is phases when everything starts to blossom again and life is overflowing again. So I found that creating a seasonal altar is a beautiful way to cure that boredom, because again, you start to understand that boredom is just that phase before everything starts to explode into this beautiful color and scent spectacle. So why not give your leafy friends a new, more comfortable home the next time when you feel bored? I personally really love repotting my plants because I am so grounded while doing it. I can do something with my hands, and I feel like in our modern time we really started to neglect our hands, like what they can do, what they are capable of. And so gardening, repotting your plants is a beautiful way to connect back to your hands and like doing something meaningful with them and feeling the earth, smelling the earth, right? And I really love speaking to my plants while repotting them. I love encouraging them to grow bigger and more healthy. And it is scientifically proven that this really helps the plants to grow more healthy and to feel more comfortable in your home. And to be honest, when I'm gardening or replanting all of my plants, I don't even think about feeling bored anymore because I'm so grounded. Now, the last idea that I want to share with you when it comes to creative magic / crafting is to craft your own secret book hideaway. And this is something that I loved doing as a child. Again, I feel like whenever I feel bored, I tend to do the things that I loved as a child a lot more, because I didn't feel bored as a child a whole lot, like except these long summer breaks. But I really just did what felt right. I was outside all the time, and really when I felt bored, I was craving that inner magic, really that spark of magic in my life, and I did not do what I was supposed to do, if this makes sense. And I really love doing the secret book hideaways. All you need to do is like find a book that you then cut out in the middle. You want to cut out a square or rectangle shape, and then you glue the pages together with some PVC glue, and now you have your little hideaway where you can store your little knickknacks, your little treasures. And it's just the most fun thing ever to know that there is something inside, but no one except you knows that there is something inside from the outside. So highly recommend doing this. And we arrived at our last 2 things that you can do when you feel bored. Dress up as a fantasy character, or simply dress up whimsical. Now, I personally really love dressing up in a whimsical way. I have been on this big journey of like decluttering my wardrobe and basically turning it upside down, replacing items that did not spark that magic inside of me, and really replacing it with items that made me feel like I'm that hero from my favorite fantasy book. So maybe the next time when you feel bored, think about your favorite fantasy book or movie and see how you can express that character. How can you dress up to feel like that character? What can you do to feel like that character, to feel so magical and whimsical? I have so much fun doing this. And so even though the world is falling apart right now, why don't we dress up whimsical and magical while that is happening? Am I right? Now, if you would call me today and tell me, Bibi, I'm so bored, I don't know what I should do today, I would of course tell you to go and visit a local flea market or thrift store. Now, I have so much fun going to flea markets and thrift stores, and just looking around all the treasures that are there. And I don't know what it is, but like everything I own needs to tell a story. When I buy something new, I usually don't build a connection to the item, but when I buy something in a thrift store or at a flea market, I know that it has a story to tell, and this makes it so interesting and whimsical to me. And so I just really love looking around flea markets or thrift stores and all the items, and then thinking about the stories that they would probably tell if they could talk. And I love finding things that we can then upcycle or thrift flip. It is one of my most favorite things ever. All right, magical ones, so there you go. Here are my 25 ideas that you can do the next time when you are bored. And if you like this kind of video, let me know, because I have so many more ideas and I would love to make more of these videos. And don't forget to comment down below what you do when you are bored, and let's really make this an interactive list. But yeah, if this video was helpful or fun or inspiring to you in any way, don't forget to do the YouTube magic, like the video. This really helps me out so much. I saw that you can also now hype the video after you gave it a thumbs up. So if you have the option already, please hype it, because it really helps me out so much. It shows the YouTube fairies that they can recommend my content to more people. Again, comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you have not been subscribed already. And yeah, we will hang out again next week. So I really hope you have a beautiful magical week, and see you then. Bye bye.